We didn't hear you.
So I had to use a different account, but we are up and live streaming, so
Well, hello.
we are recording.
I'll wait for Susan to get back in here.
Okay. She didn't reach out to me. Right?
Hi there.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing good.
How's the baby?
Big.
That's like you and your
Oh,
husband all in 1 week.
Huh?
That's like you and your husband all in 1 week.
She's getting big.
How old is she now?
13 months. She's getting
Already?
Already,
What happened to a year?
I know. And I thought I didn't show up for this one last year, but I did.
Yes.
I forgot. She's like, yes, I do. Ridiculous.
Yes. And when you're counting it from a little one's perspective, man, they just go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Breaks my heart to see how big she is.
Sorry.
Yeah, teeth coming in. And,
Yep.
yeah, it
Man.
makes me so sad. I was like, I need a fresh one.
Oh.
You ready?
I need a fresh.
Remember to grow up.
I know.
Okay. All right, I'll call the Everman City Council workshop for Friday, July 21st, 2023 to order. The time is 1:17 p.m. We'll drop down to discussion items. Item A, budget workshop, general fund expenditures.
Hi.
Welcome back.
All right. So obviously, this is the most in-depth meeting that we'll have regarding budget. We're going to go through all the general fund expenditures today. First, if you'll flip over to the very first page, it says all funds expenditure summary by fund. So the first thing I want to point out is as you look down at those bottom numbers, you're going to notice a pretty significant jump in expenditures. Bear in mind that a large portion of this, I think almost the largest portion of this is dispatch. Primarily because we're going to see a significant increase in revenues as well from dispatch. So there's different reasons for the jumps. We'll go through each one of the departments, but I wanted to point out that, yes, it does look like a scary number. It's almost a $2 million jump, I believe. $2 million jump in expenditures from one year to another. But we've also done quite a bit of consolidation and things across all the different departments.
And, sorry, just to interject there, we have not done budget amendments for 23, so actually that number could be higher as well. 9.5 will be higher once we do the budget amendments. But it is a significant increase.
You say, how much is on those amendments?
Quite a bit,
Well, quite a bit, actually.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
It's all gonna be based on the same items with dispatch and everything will be the reason for the increase.
Not the only reason, no. Dispatch
But that'll be a
is,
big part.
I think dispatch is probably the biggest chunk of it. The raises that we talked about for police and fire is another big chunk of it. We added, or we're looking at adding 3 additional positions within the water department, so that's gonna be another good chunk of this as well. So, I mean, there's other contributing factors.
I was referring to the budget amendments,
Dispatch will include, yes, dispatch will have budget amendments as well.
but a big part of them, these numbers.
Yeah, but it's
it's
also the street project that, it's, much of it has already been approved. We're just waiting to do the final budget amendments to move the money over.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily that we're needing all this money from reserves, because that's not what it is. It's just prior approvals get pushed through. I know the street fund was 100,000 of it, so.
Any questions over the front page? If not, we'll start diving right into each individual fund. Okay.
Debit.
Yeah, so this one's, again, just the summary page of general fund expenditures by department, broken out. So you can see the increases along the side. Again, when you go down, you'll see that 110% increase in dispatch. Keep in mind that there's a revenue to offset that as well because we've entirely changed over the operation within dispatch. And then the Civic Center reflects 127%. Don't let that percentage fool you. It's really not that much more money. We've increased it up to 34,000 from 15,000, primarily because of the outgoing fees that we're seeing with janitorial services and cleaning services and those things. we have revenue that offsets that.
I was gonna say, those are pass-through, basically
Yeah, and
pass-through fee for us.
last year that 15,000 was low because the Civic Center was just opening, and so we really put a very bare bones budget just to cover the janitorial supplies and a few things, so it was very low last year.
The
So-
other two bigger jumps that you're seeing are administration, city manager, and city secretary. Both those are primarily because of the library staff that is converting over and moving from one department over into these departments.
I didn't think it did with parks.
Well, probably because of the capital expenditure, ARPA funds. We spent a lot of ARPA funds inside the parks, so there's probably just less capital this year. But we'll dive into each individual department.
That's included in non-park now.
Pretty much anything that's kind of shared by everybody. So a lot of our office,
Janitorial supplies,
Yeah.
postage,
Okay.
Yeah.
and the utility expenses.
Yeah. let's go ahead and switch to the next page and we'll jump into non-departmental.
On this page, we were just looking at general fund by department. Yep. I see at the bottom of fiscal year 24 proposed budget, it's 8,113,000, but 2 pages ahead of it, 2 pages back, FY 24 proposed budget is 11 million.
Because the FY 24 proposed budget includes water and sewer fund, debt service,
This is the all
Okay.
funds,
all funds.
All right,
because you'll see that the 8 million up higher under general.
okay, okay,
Yeah, if you remember, we went through the special funds the other night, so if you look,
I just had to make sure.
yeah, no, if you look on that previous page, that top line, 100 general fund, 8,113,994, it matches on this page, the 8,113,994.
On which page?
Go back to that previous page, all funds, expenditure by fund, where it has the 11 million at the bottom,
Yes, oh, I see, it's right at the top.
right
Yep.
there at the top,
Alright,
the
thank
8,113,000, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I get the non-departmental now.
Now that you're looking at it, reading it,
Next page.
that was a pretty easy budget.
Yeah.
Slight increases, and that's primarily, just on the postage machine, which
Right.
part of that, you saw the other day, we added some of that to the water, for the expense of the notifications.
We did also increase the building maintenance
Yeah.
item here because we've gone over. We are continuing to see air conditioning issues. I think it's been our biggest expense is just trying to deal with some of the AC systems. At some point, they've all gonna work fine because it seems like we've replaced almost all of them,
I
but
think we replaced all of them at City Hall.
all the ones at
But-
City Hall,
PD's on its last leg, I think.
so we increased that one,
Library's
doubled
good.
that one.
We just replaced libraries last year,
Yes.
so.
Electrical went up a little bit because we're almost near the end of the budget year and you can see we're about to bust that budget, so not by much, but we do need to increase that. And left gas the same and telephone a slight increase. Any questions there? We'll be done with this in an hour. Let's go.
Wait, till we get to some of these bigger ones.
All right, next is the administration budget, city manager. Requesting an increase on awards and banquets, bringing that up from $1,000 to $1,500. Computer program M&A, a lot of that's cost affiliated with IT services, when we need some different things here and there. Again, I think we should just expect our IT costs to continue to go up as we rely more and more on technology for everything that we do. Let's see, obviously, you're gonna see the FICA, TMRS, dental, all those are gonna increase because we are moving personnel from library staff underneath administration.
As well as Donna.
And Donna Wilkerson, the permits is coming up underneath it.
Excuse me, sorry.
Well, we're not talking about a raise, so we're good. But we're moving that personnel underneath administration. So we've got personnel consolidation coming into this department, so that's why you're seeing those.
Oh, okay, okay. Why hasn't somebody in the city manager department used any dues or membership?
Because it's a timing thing. His dues are due right now, so
Okay.
they will come out before October. You'll see the same in finance.
Okay,
I have an invoice in my inbox right now, waiting to be paid, so
gotcha.
it's timing.
We have busted our budget for legal services already this year. So we're requesting an increase there up to $45,000. My opinion, it's well worth it. I know we've made a change with legal services, and I know you guys probably don't see it on the day-to-day, but on staff's end, it has been tremendous. It has been great working with a new law firm.
Or somebody at the meetings too.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And they give their opinion.
Very,
Yes,
very
yes.
responsive,
Very
very,
Timely.
very nice to work
Unless they're reading
with.
a book.
Great. They've been absolutely amazing.
Well, I'm not real sure.
Get, well, what are we paying for? I got yes.
Yeah, that's not bad, we a little bit.
Yeah. We used to get-
Paying how much for these people?
And requesting an increase on contingency reserve. My budget's the only one that has a contingency reserve. That's an emergency fund that we just set aside. There's no specific allocation for it. But that covers us in case we need to file any sort of claim with insurance on TML, lawsuits, any of those kinds of things. Eventually, my goal is to eventually have this budget at $100,000. We're trying to get there slowly. But really, we should be allocating some money just in case something happens that we have to have enough funds to cover it without dipping into reserves.
And if we don't use it, it just,
And then, yeah,
then it mails back in.
It goes back over to
Yes, ma'am.
cover any other overages
Okay.
within the city, or it goes into reserves.
Okay.
Just-
What is Lexapol?
That's our grant writing service. We allocate $10,000 a year for them. If police, fire, city, we need any sort of technical assistance in pursuing grants, they're able to do that for us.
Good.
We,
They have
and
the
quite,
expertise.
we've only spent about 3,000 with them, and we have gotten some grants back. We haven't utilized them as much as we should be, but that's not their fault. That's just, we just haven't used them as much as we should. So I know Chief and I both talked about that. We need to utilize them a little bit more.
Oh, yes.
But we're gonna wait till next budget, so we got some savings.
Let's get that flood study going.
Yeah.
We're gonna be using them a lot.
Professional services?
So yeah, if you look at professional services right now, it shows 0 for the year. We're gonna have to do some, account code corrections there. That's typically like engineering services and things, but they've been hitting the wrong account. When you look at code, you'll see that code is over.
no, you're not gonna look at code, because code doesn't have budget
I'm
anymore.
sorry. If I was to show you the code budget for this year, code enforcement's over budget. It's because we just need to do some account code corrections and have them hit this budget. And then not budgeting for any capital expenditures here, city manager. Questions there?
So far, so good.
All right, Susan, this one's yours.
Okay. Not a whole lot of change here, with the exception of moving some of the library personnel under me as well, so you'll see some increases in the benefits and salary portion. A reduction in bank charges because it was in 22 that we got slammed with these excessive bank charges, and we reached out to them and negotiated lower rates on some of that. And I've been keeping more money in the bank to try to avoid some of those charges.
Yes.
It's kind of a balancing act between the, getting more interest on the investments versus leaving this much in the bank, so it's.
Right.
But you have to maintain enough in the banks also, but, anyway, long story short, I reduced that expense there.
I'll say, because in 22.
Yeah, we paid
$8,900.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, and we called and we met with them on a couple occasions, and they knew we were very happy.
Good.
So,
There are other banks.
yeah, but unfortunately, we can't get anybody to go out to bid, but that's neither here nor there.
Postage meter, have you moved that?
Yes, thank you. That is now under the non-departmental,
Okay.
so that was one of the reasons that increased it there. And that's the payment on the actual machine there and
Well,
maintenance of the.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, so we talked about it the other day, but I think she kind of mentioned this. Postage, we added a postage within water utility billing, was it under utility billing? within a water utility building. We didn't have it underneath there before. So we've added a postage there so they can be responsible for, or the water fund can pay for their portion.
Right,
And we've also increased this budget over here. So
okay.
there's been a significant increase in postage and freight.
63 cents for a
And
$5
those rates just keep going up too, so.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, the TIF contribution has gone up. But we also see an increase on the other side of that, the revenue coming in has an increase as well. So that's a good increase right here. And when you see this one increase, then it's good.
And quite frankly, that might also be a conservative number.
Yeah.
Depending on when this
Houses.
home development gets complete. That's one thing we don't know of when we're talking about revenues. We don't know how that's going to affect our revenues. We don't know the
When they
timing.
start coming in and when we start
Yeah.
receiving.
So it may actually be, that may be a pretty conservatively low number compared to what it may be when it's
Wouldn't
all
that be a
done.
fun surprise?
Yes, I would be happy to do a budget amendment on that.
Yes. What do we pay Tarrant Appraisal District?
For collecting taxes.
Okay. We only have 48,000.
Well, that's.
No, I'm reading her mind at the moment. That's what made me laugh.
Yeah. Okay. We have 48,000 left in ARPA.
No, ma'am. That was spent. $48,000 of ARPA funds was spent this year to pay for OpenGov, the financial services.
So do you know how much money, do we have any money in ARPA left?
There is
Few, but it's
some, but
not-
it's not much,
Oh, it's not
hundred and something thousand dollars.
Okay.
Our recommendation is to leave that money alone. Let's carry that as a contingency since we have the freedom of using that to cover
We
it.
can use that for just
So,
about anything, so
Yeah,
it's.
if at the end of the year, we have any overages somewhere, instead of dipping into reserves, we can offset with ARPA funds to cover our costs. That way, we're still contributing to our reserves and trying to build those up.
When do those funds have to be spent?
2025.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got some time. Yep. Okay.
All right, Jennifer, you're up. You can come up here now if you want.
Well, we got seats now, Jennifer.
Of course.
Yours isn't that hard.
No,
Yeah, sit next to you, ma'am.
yes.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see.
Big against his trouble.
Yeah, it shows a 200%, but it's only an additional $1,000. As HR, she also provides training, not just for herself, but there may be training expenses associated with other employees as well.
And that's under risk management.
Yeah, that's risk management.
This training
Are you-
is-
which
this
one are
training-
you-
This training is for.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, the conference.
The
Yes.
conferences, yes, that's for any like hotel dues and registration and all that. It can be a little pricey.
Somebody please spell that word right.
Oh, the training.
Yes,
Which,
We've made that note, yeah.
training, yeah.
It's killing me.
It was a conversion thing and I thought I had corrected it on every,
Oh,
yeah,
Oh.
all the
my
other
left
ones.
eye is twitching over here.
let's see.
Where's that red pen?
It's in my purse. Oh,
So
I didn't notice this. You
training,
said
office
that.
supplies, just increase in supplies and what are needed, and of course increase in prices with everything going up.
Yeah.
Or that has gone up.
yeah, and will.
Yes. And
Everything else is, everything else
Yeah,
is associated. Do you want to talk about?
professional services, I know that we, pre-employment, we generally send, employees, to.
Drug test.
Like,
Get drug tested.
get drug tested, physicals, all that before we hire them. So we have moved all of that under my budget. It was, before it was, individually hitting the other
Different
budgets,
departments, yeah.
and it just,
That's an HR thing.
Okay.
So it looks like Paylocity has only been spent 20,000, or we're gonna be able to spend the rest of that by the end of the fiscal year.
It's kind of it's not a set fee amount.
Oh,
It's-
okay,
It's dependent on
We're
how
just
much we
budgeting.
process.
We budgeted 40,000, we cushioned it.
okay,
So
I got you,
I think we're good.
okay,
We like to have a conclusion.
yes.
We weren't sure because, the fees were, they varied in the beginning, especially when there were extra payrolls and things like that, and any corrections they were charging us. So some of the fees were a little bit higher in the beginning, but they've tapered off.
Okay, that's excellent.
oh, and our, I know, next year we will be doing, sexual harassment, diversity, and, cybersecurity in person. Make it more fun. Yes.
And we're gonna offer it in person, because I'm so tired of taking that online over and over again.
It's the
It's
same
same thing.
thing.
I don't mind learning the same material, but I sure would like it presented in a different
Oh my
format.
gosh, and they're so dorky. I try to laugh at them.
Now, we do have only 3 with us, but over at the school district, we have 15 of them.
Is
Ooh.
It has to be done by September 1st.
And
15 modules?
yes, it's been 21. We hate everybody.
You get so bored watching it, and then by the time it comes to ask all those questions, I'm going, oh, Lord.
I'm gonna tell you what, I take notes, and I take screenshots, I'm not gonna remember a date. Or a percentage, 13.3%.
Any other questions on HR? We good? Okay.
Good job.
You're out of the hot seat, I'm out of the hot seat.
So if you turn the page to city secretary, ma'am, you'll see that the spelling is correct. I apologize, it was a conversion thing and I thought I had caught it on all the pages, so
Gotcha.
this is correct.
Thank you, my left eye's trying not to.
I know, it does me the same way, trust me.
All right,
Let's jump
Madam
out of
Secretary.
here. Advert, market, and public.
Yeah, you're
You're cutting it in half?
if you look at the usage, we just haven't utilized a
I'm
lot of
happy
it.
with that.
Now, I think we made a big jump primarily because we were anticipating a bunch of zoning changes and things, and that requires a lot of cost. Some of those didn't occur, so
And I think we increased it also before we had switched which newspaper we were using. And before it was much more expensive.
Star Telegram is astronomical.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that was
What paper
partially
do
why.
we use?
You could do both, either or now, but
What's the
commercial reporter for like smaller
Okay,
things,
okay.
and
Okay.
if
if it's something controversial that council usually wants publicized for one reason or another, then we make sure to put it in the Star Times.
Yeah.
If it's just our typical legal notices that we have to comply with in the
Yeah.
newspaper, we use the
The
commercial.
record.
What, you don't put everything in the paper?
But we do,
Yes, one
just
paper or another.
a cheaper paper.
Cheaper paper.
Cheaper paper.
I'm good at that.
As long as we put out there.
All right, so what happened to banquets for this year?
Is a budget amendment waiting to happen now?
Yeah, but what
We-
happened?
We received funds, donations in for the, employee gala. And so those are the expenses coming out right there. And then we have the revenue to offset it in the detail.
Thank you.
Yep, we're good.
Okay.
That's why her budget is still only 6,000.
Gotcha.
She's not getting any more money.
Well, it went up 3 times, or however, whatever percentage you call that, twice.
So you're getting the employees.
It's 3 and 6 is 18.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
computer program, we went up on that for that.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Not a whole lot of changes.
Election fees cut in half, because we didn't need one. And, well, we will in
We don't,
20.
this is not a general election year for us, but, and historically, when it's not been a general election year, we've just wiped out the budget and put 0, but we recommend keeping at least enough in there to hold one election in case something happens, whether a council member resigns or a vacancy, or we have to take something to the voters, a petition, whatever it may be, we should budget for at least one election.
But
We do have
Even-
elections this year.
Yes, even
24.
places are up for reelection in 24. Mayor in 246.
Yes.
I told you.
You told me.
Yeah, we told you.
Every year we'll have elections, because the year after that, it'll be 1, 3, and 5.
Oh,
No,
no.
well, I said I
Skip
thought
a
it
year.
was.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
we do.
27?
27.
They're 4 years now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're 4-year terms.
Okay, so we did in 23, so it'll be 27.
Yeah, 27, 28.
But we have to go in 24,
Yeah.
yes.
I don't either. That's why I was thinking it was.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do with the election fees? Is 8,000 gonna cut it? Because we will have one in May.
I think
It's
so.
8,000 is already cushioned in.
Yes, it is.
I think we're good.
Okay, okay. Just make sure you have enough money. Okay.
That's what budget.
If not, I'll pull it from her, office supplies.
More pens and pencils. I better bring my own.
I'm just kidding. No, I think
We're
we're
up
good.
this year.
I don't think so. I
Well,
still don't,
The
because
odd numbers were gonna be, we made that
Ours
change
was
at 4
this year.
years.
See, it's every
And 1,
year.
3, 5 were in 2023, but nobody signed up, so we didn't have to.
He thought it was 2 years in between
It will.
the,
No,
right?
because one's even, one's odd.
Yes.
So we would go for 2 years, then there won't be anything for 2 years.
Well, my next one will be 27.
The city
Which I
charter
just
changed
got
to
elected.
4 years,
This year.
4-year terms.
So,
okay,
So it'll be next,
28,000 enough?
Yeah.
Okay,
27 and 28.
Yeah.
okay, so we're good, huh?
we are good.
Yeah, it looks
And
pretty.
then her numbers are up also because a couple positions being put under.
Yes.
Right, so. Well, this was kind of boring.
Yeah, you're gonna have so much help. You're gonna have so much help, what are you gonna do?
You're used to those meetings, we're in here all day for hours.
Yes, we're gonna get everything in the city scanned.
That's right.
My first budget, we went till 11 p.m. on one night, Tony.
And we will never do that.
Oh, no.
We
Yeah.
talked about
Y'all might do
every
that.
single, we talked about every single one, on every single page.
Well, that's
We wanted
why
to-
you're supposed to see everything that everybody's asking for and that.
Okay, let's go to the next one, city council. I do wanna talk about this one a little bit, because, I just wanna iron out, maybe kind of once and for all, what the plan is with the training funds. Because this question comes up to me every year, and this is your budget on how y'all wanna do it. We don't have anything that really defines how much each council member gets.
Right.
There's nothing in
We need to
the council of
establish that.
governance, and that's one question that was posed to me, is how much does each council member get for training each year? There's not a number. What the governance says is that every other year, we will make sure to fund enough for, on odd even years, odd council places and the mayor to go to TML conference. On even years, even council members and the mayor to go to
Yes.
TML conference, or the mayor to go to one conference.
That's self-explanatory. I don't
So,
have any
so
problem with that.
the trainings in addition to that, TML conference, there's nothing that regulates that on how much each council member gets. Are you fine with that? I just wanna make sure that y'all know that it's really up to you on who goes to what trainings and how much you wanna authorize each council member to spend. And y'all need to define that. It doesn't matter to us. You tell us what number to put on the budget, we're gonna make it happen. So it's up to y'all on how you wanna do that, but I get asked every
But
year.
it should be put in writing because it gets
I
asked
agree
of
with
us.
that.
Well, like,
It's, yeah.
you know, like
when
the
you get
TML does
requested.
the Region 8 dinners.
Mhm,
We have a council member that goes to every one of those.
mhm.
And,
And the governance does say that we will reimburse for those,
Reimburse for the ticket or for travel also?
all of it. Any cost associated with that, that is what the.
So
that
do
is
we
what-
have a line item for that specific thing?
No,
Or is it all out of this one?
it comes out of.
Travel, training in schools.
Okay, so maybe we should,
that's a quarterly meeting and, $50 plus mileage.
so maybe we need to use the same thing even and odd. And if you wanna go to it, but if you're an even number, but it's an odd number a year, like it's 23 now, and if I wanted to go, it's not my year to get reimbursed for that, so I would pay my own. Is that,
I don't,
It's quarterly dinners, I mean, so
And
it's
it
more
would
than
be-
one time a year.
but it would be, it's not my year to get reimbursed for that. Am I
So
making
like,
this too
just,
easy?
so like, just stick with your year and that's it.
Exactly, that's not hard, and we can kind of keep up with money, because if one person goes to everything right up front, nobody else has any money. And I might wanna go to something in March, but it's all spent by December. And
Well, can
if I wanna go, I'm gonna pay my own way, but the point is, it's not available. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
Well,
making
what if it's
sense, but
limited
before,
then?
all that was used to be covered, no matter who wanted to go or not.
yeah, but we don't have the funds for it.
here's what the
It's like
the
mayor's
governance
council
says.
Meeting,
Yeah,
you know,
This is
we
what-
pay for you and one guest.
yeah.
Yeah, this is what the governance says. It says the city will pay for council members and one guest to attend functions related to city business, i.e. TML Region 8 dinners, mayor's council dinners, chamber dinners, up to dollar amount allocated for each council member as approved during the budget process. We haven't approved the budget number. That's what I'm asking today, is we need to approve a budget number for each council member today. If a council member signs up for an event and does not attend, the council member shall reimburse the city for any amounts already paid that cannot be refunded. All reimbursements shall be processed within 30 days of receiving appropriate documentation and support.
Okay,
So,
I can create another line item, I see you would like it separated from the actual seminars or whatever, so council dinners or something to that effect.
Right.
So,
So we know
According to that,
exactly what we're
it's-
spending.
But is there 7,500, right? That's what we're talking about, 7,500. So then why don't we just do a number for each council member and do it 1,000, and when you get to your 1,000, then you're responsible for whatever fees.
Every year.
Every
Instead of
year,
doing
I mean,
every
because
year.
it's 7,500, what we have already, so.
And the
that,
1,000,
that's regular training, that's for your,
that's to go to the TML conference.
that's to go to the TML conference.
Any other
But
trainings that you may want.
if you want the
Dinners.
dinners separate, I can do that and put in
And put in a
Whatever.
different amount and.
1,000, I
Another
don't, I
amount of
mean,
money.
$1,000, I don't think we're,
it's 1,000, if you go to TML and you're going somewhere where you spend the night for several days, you're going well above that. You're gonna be $1,300, $1,400, $1,500.
Mhm.
So,
right, that's why you broke out the 7,500 for
Yeah.
every other year. Because it is more like gonna be $1,500.
I'm wondering if we ought to add another line item
Just
for
for
the
the other
other
stuff.
stuff.
Yes, for the other stuff.
And maybe put,
Yeah, that's what she's saying.
okay.
She's saying add another line item for everything other than training. The
TML.
TML conference or
They
anything.
train you 7,500 and,
Add another line item for
Yeah.
council functions or
Yes.
whatever
Yeah.
you want to
it
call
would
it.
kind of be a catch-all for the other stuff.
Yeah,
The council dinner.
Councilman,
Uh,
how much would you want to allocate per council member?
So they're quarterly, let's look at the big picture.
Those are quarterly, that's $200 to go to each one of those, plus mileage.
Okay,
The TML dinner,
but does that include the ticket for the guest?
no, it doesn't.
Okay, so we're talking $100 per quarter, so that's $400.
This city hadn't been taking a guest with her.
I'm sorry?
She hadn't
Well,
been taking a guest
no.
with us just to go by
I
herself.
think, yes, and that was something
So-
you had to pay yourself.
yeah. I
But if
think
it says
so.
anything that we provided, we have to put it in the budget.
Yeah, but if they want to do that and they hurry up and spend their money, then they're just gonna go to those functions.
If
So,
If
So if we put $7,000,
if we have a
That's
very
$1,000
active,
per
a very active council member going to all of the Region 8 functions and events a year, a very active one would cost about $1,600 a year.
Okay, is that with a guest?
I don't know.
hey,
that
I
covers
don't
it.
believe so.
are you talking TML and everything?
But TML would be
This is
just with
This
TML.
is-
I what?
We wouldn't bring,
Yeah,
we
this
wouldn't
is just
consider
for-
TML with the other functions.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out what events he's talking about.
TML, you don't take a guest.
What
They're on
events are
your
you
own.
talking about for $1,600?
She went to the TML conference, that's why. That was the 1,500.
That was part of it.
The 1,500 was TML conference.
That would come out of the training.
That comes
fund.
out of this other.
Yeah, the 7,500.
Okay, so what do you think? $1,000 per place for dinners, for
For
dinners.
dinners, that's still too much.
How? if you said it's $50
Are you talking about per person?
per person,
Mhm.
$1,000.
Oh.
Yeah, it kept it
A
Times
thousand
Yes.
per person per
So
year.
that's $100 for January's TML dinner, if you take a guess. Okay, so that'd be,
$400 a year if you went to all 4 quarters,
right,
plus mileage. So
Plus
you're
mileage.
a couple $100 there depending, because sometimes it's pretty far.
I don't know.
I know, that's crazy.
We need to budget to reimburse for mileage.
We have to, like.
We should budget to reimburse for mileage. Now, if you
Yes,
make the
yes.
choice not to put in for
Right.
mileage,
Oh,
then
got it.
that's on you, but as we do budget, sure,
Got it.
we should budget to be able to reimburse.
So if we set a dollar amount and you know that that's it, you go over that, it's out of your pocket, then, you know, so.
What about any other functions aside from the TML Region 8?
But that'd be the only two, to be that and the dinner.
Line barger, any of those events?
But the live barter's free to us.
Mileage.
Yeah,
City function, so there's mileage.
I've never.
Well, that's here in town, right?
It's in Fort Worth.
Yeah, so
But
10
that's your
miles,
choice to
just
go.
go 10 miles.
That's your choice
Fund
to
that,
go.
I know, good.
I've never.
I know.
I understand. I'm not saying every council member needs to put in for reimbursement. I'm not saying that at all.
No,
But you have to
But
have
we
it.
should budget for it
Yes.
because election's coming up,
Right,
you know,
Because.
I'm not saying anybody's going anywhere, but we should be budgeting for whatever those costs are. I think you're talking $7,000 for all the council. It's not a huge blow to the budget by any means. I think you put it at 1,000 and you're good.
Well, so for one person guessing mileage, it's gonna be about $600 for the full.
Well, that's what I'm
For just
saying.
TML,
Right.
for just the Region 8 meetings. And then it gives you another $400 to do any other functions that you may want to
Right.
as a city council member.
Right, okay,
as long as it meets in our parameters of what you're allowed to go to.
right, perfect.
Seven,
All right,
okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
let's do the
Got it.
1,000.
I'm not part of the city.
I still think it's too high, but I'll live with it.
This question.
But, and it's the first year we're doing this, so
Yeah.
we'll start with 1,000. If we
Yeah.
go next year, and we come in way under, then we can reduce it. If we go way over, then.
Yeah,
we'll-
that's just assuming
Okay,
all of us do.
and we're going to make
Yeah.
sure everyone
Which we don't, I know
realizes
that.
you only get $1,000, right, for the fiscal year to do these kinds of things.
Yes. it's
Yeah,
gonna be-
I know I turn in a lot of mileage, but that's because of all the different meetings I go to all over the place.
Okay, so we have increased the dues and membership because you went over. So I bumped that up to $2,500.
Okay.
And that is primarily yeah, I think the TML fees went up slightly on that one. Anyhow, right?
TML and COG.
And
Now, COG, isn't that the normal, what, $2,000 every year?
That doesn't hit council budget. That should hit, I think that hits emergency management budget.
Oh, does it?
Thought I hit for this city secretary.
No, it should hit, no, you're talking about the EPPC?
Well, no, the email I got the other day,
Yeah, that's
Is that
EPPC. Yeah, that's our EPPC dues. That hits emergency management.
we're paying money for me to be the vice chair of that committee.
No, we pay money to be members of that committee.
It's a membership due.
And then you just do extra.
We have to be
work.
members of EPPC in order for you to even be the chair. So yes, we are paying money for you to be the chair, but chair or not, we still be paying.
okay.
We ain't got anything out of them, have we?
We're getting there. Well, Mr. Chairman?
Okay. Vice chair this year.
Okay, but we know somebody on the board, right?
Okay.
Vice chair.
And we increased minor equipment because we blew through that budget. And that covers any of the equipment that we use out there for council meetings or anything like that.
Microphones, laptop replacements.
Holy cow.
I think you're gonna see, I think we'll have a budget amendment for that one for this year using ARPA funds. I just don't think we've done that budget amendment. I know we bought all new laptops.
We haven't done it.
Yeah.
The laptops were in this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, by the way, thank you for the laptop instead of the Chromebook.
It's wonderful.
Yes, it actually works, and there's a back button, I can Chromebook. Thank you.
Okay, anything else on council?
What did we decide on the travel, on the $7,500?
For training.
Leaving that alone.
Leave it alone, okay.
Yeah, that should cover TML.
But you're asking for like the odd and even year stuff on it, or?
Yeah, is it still odd?
So I say we leave it at 7,500. The TML conference is local this year. I've already told several of the directors, I kind of want to take everybody this year because it's not gonna cost us anything. It's in Dallas.
Just the registration.
It's in Dallas. Just costs us the registration. I won't have to pay for a hotel. So if y'all wanted, if all the council members wanted to go this year in Dallas and not spend hotel, then we would just need to work with the attorney to draft up whatever motion needs to be made to bypass the council
variance
regs,
of
a variance to it of something, to where everybody can go this year, because it's so close. So
Yeah,
we're good there.
yeah.
As soon as it was in front of us, so.
That is abuse of tax funds.
Ms. Padilla said she wanted to volunteer on my board.
Next year, we'll be back on the odd meeting year, so, right?
I don't know where it's at next year, but I mean, if it's not local, then yes, I would say odd.
So 22 was odd,
Yes, I'll pick it up.
22 is odd, this year is even. Cause I could have gone Monday. 23 is for even, cause last year
Yeah, this is 24 budget.
for even. 24 would be
Well-
odd again, wouldn't it?
Well, but remember, the conference was in October. Oh, we took it out of last year's budget, paid for it.
I know Joni Mae and I were eligible to go last year, cause it was odd. She went, I didn't, yeah.
Okay, well,
So this year, even.
Your
is
place,
even
your place.
is odd. I would have gone last year, but I didn't go last year. She went last year.
So this is fiscal year 23, and
And it's
this should be,
So the governance says places 1, 3, and 5 will attend in odd number years, while
Yes.
places 2, 4, and 6 will attend in even.
Because that was budget 23, and so it was odd. So this is budget 24, so it's even.
yes.
So starting in
So in
October.
October this year, it's 24.
Yes.
Yes.
I know,
Yes.
it is, but that's the way it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why I was confused, okay.
But if it's local,
Yeah, but if
then
it's
council,
local.
I just recommend council approve the variance to allow all places to attend local.
Yeah,
And
we
we
got
can
Yes,
cover,
yes.
we'll have that with
funds
the
to cover it, so.
Do we know what hotel it's gonna be at?
I would imagine the Omni, but I don't know. I'll check.
Okay,
We'll find out, I'll get the
I don't
information.
remember now.
okay.
Okay, ready?
Yes, that worked fine.
All right, Gilbert, you're up.
Parks,
We already know what you want.
I'm sorry, Mayor,
go ahead.
you wanna take about 10 minutes? We've been at it an hour. You wanna take 5
Yeah,
minutes?
let's take a 10-minute break.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay,
whenever you're ready.
I guess I should have gave time when we stopped, but
That's all right.
we'll call the meeting back to order, time is 2:10.
All right, so starting on Parks, 100-210. Gilbert.
So, go ahead, you're talking about the Memorial Park first, right?
Yeah, primarily due to flags. We wanted to make sure that we increased funding so we
Okay.
could buy new flags every month, right? Right, or, no, what's your plan?
We're gonna buy in bulk.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yes.
you're gonna have enough flags for every month,
Correct,
right?
correct.
Replace them monthly, so we don't have any more tattered flags.
Okay, because they look ratty and it looks, it's embarrassing.
Are the ones that I got you working better?
Oh, they're about the same.
And
Yeah.
if it's a non-windy month and we can use them longer, that's okay, but,
But it's cheaper for him to buy them in bulk,
oh,
get
no,
larger
absolutely,
quantity.
yes.
Yeah.
Then onesie twosie, no, that's too
Yeah.
expensive.
And we're buying better quality too, so they should last.
Yes,
At least that
yes. Okay, thank you for that, I appreciate that.
That's not shopping at Sam's.
Can they be more like in banner type than just a flag that can easily rip and slip in the wind?
It's a heavier material and won't fly.
Yeah, I think it'll probably rip faster when it's in the wind. Yeah, I mean, we can test
That's what I'm
it.
saying.
Try it out.
No worries.
Other than that, everything looks good here.
Good one.
So you're saying, we don't
Skip
need
over
anything for
lunch.
parks, huh?
No.
Well, so there is capital expenditures, does have $30,000 in it.
So that's
Um,
really.
Yeah, no, you're good. Go ahead.
Wait,
We don't
got
steal your
30,000
thunder.
for park maintenance supplies.
You spend, that's typical.
Is that like, no, that's the long period right here, okay.
Yeah, no, it's,
50,000, we knew that.
yeah, and I've asked Gilbert to, work on getting, replacement, engineered wood fiber and trims and all those kinds of things out there, so he needs some adequate funding for that in our parks. We're supposed to have a 6-inch appropriate base at the bottom of our park equipment, and we're not compliant with that currently, so he's working on fixing that.
Are we gonna be working on anything at the other park?
I think once this one's done, yes, that'll probably be our next focus. We're just trying to move from
Yeah.
one spot to another, instead of doing little repair here and a little
Right.
repair there, let's
Right.
finish something off and then move to.
So we're gonna focus this budget on finishing this one,
Yes.
Yes.
because you know it's gonna be asked.
Oh, it has already been asked, when we had the
Yeah.
community center, the town hall meet and greet. Yeah, I had an individual
Okay.
ask about the other part.
I think one thing that would help Johnson Park is you can't see the Chamber of Commerce sign because there's things that have grown up around it. And that little flower bed looks really ratty.
Well, now, hold on here. Okay. I'm gonna try to address that again to the Everman Garden Club and see if we can kind of get that looking a little nicer. Get that trimmed down or whatever. And as I had mentioned before, I would like to propose for the Everman Garden Club to actually do some flowers, like fall flowers, and then maybe winter
Seasonal
flowers, and little spring flowers.
Yes.
And kind of have something a little more, you
Inviting.
know, yeah, instead of, hey, come look at our weeds.
Gilbert needs that kind of support. He doesn't have the staff to address all those beautification projects while taking care of just the general maintenance. It's so hard for his
Well,
guys.
it used to be the garden club's, little flower bed. Yeah, but the problem was that we couldn't get it maintained, I mean, as far as, you know, of course, obviously, we can't go up there and water it, you know, and we, that kind of thing. It's just some little things that we can do to help maybe to make it look, and, you know, some of the bricks are down.
I was just gonna say that should be a Gilbert
Yeah.
thing.
Can we
Can the
fix it?
garden club does the garden club have any kind of regular meetings or?
We have one, starting in September through May. We have it on Thursdays, the second Thursday of the month.
Gilbert, could we either have you act as a liaison or Rodolfo act as a liaison and attend those meetings to be, a city employee right there and find out, how can we work together to make this
See what
happen?
needs.
What needs do we need to fill? What can they do?
Connection in that flower bed. At some
Well,
point.
since I'm the president this year.
Hey.
I'm on the garden club.
Okay, we got a pair, right?
Voting in the garden club.
I'm gonna address it and see how they feel about that and let me get back. And then if we do have to pick a day or whatever to do it, then we may need one person to help kind of lift stuff or something.
Absolutely.
You know,
Well, in the meantime, Gilbert's folks can fix the bricks. Cause there's
Yeah.
two that are completely been removed and there's a couple that look a little snaggle tooth. So we
or I
can
can come
fix
up with a
that.
different idea, you know, if something does,
Yeah,
let me
cause,
know.
yeah,
Is there any way to fix up the signs, like the city signs coming into town?
I think they need to be I think they need to be power washed and then painted.
They just
Yes.
look blah.
Yeah, I agree.
like this one maybe?
Yeah, we just redid this one this past year, and actually, we didn't even do it. One of the gentlemen that was working on this building actually went to school with Clyde's son, and saw the sign and said, hey, I wanna redo it. And he volunteered, and went over there on his own time, didn't charge us anything, right? Yeah, didn't charge us anything to redo that. So he did such a good job on this one, I bet we could contact him and ask him about pricing to clean up some of the
Yes.
others.
And paint in the letters, cause I think they make it pop a little bit, just in all beige.
And it doesn't take much, it's a matter of power washing and just new coat of paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't take much.
And Linda just said something about, was there water in that flower bed?
For some
There used
reason,
to have a connection there.
yeah, I thought so too.
Buy it, to water it. And I don't remember now.
I remember that from a while back.
I think it was sitting up there, but
I thought there was one too, because we had flowers in there and they have to be watered.
you know, and I don't care if we had to put out even, later on, even fake flowers, to make it look nicer for an attraction to say,
Welcome
whatever,
home.
yeah, season, whatever season it could be, you know what I mean, just something to add into it, instead of a weed fest.
They're attracting weeds, but that's not the point.
No,
We can also do like what we did here, where if there is a faucet out there, we can set a sprinkler out there that takes care of that on a timer. That way
Oh,
we
that'd
don't have to worry about,
Yes,
the
yes,
staff
that would
getting
be
out
great.
there every single day and
Yes.
taking care of it, so.
Just a gentle little
Cause I
water.
know that water department added an irrigation system in Memorial Park and an irrigation system out here, but it's manual right now. You guys are working on putting in automatic timers on those, right?
Yes.
So just because they get so overwhelmed, they don't even have half the time to get over there just to turn the valves on and
Yeah.
off. So we want them on automatic timers. So I bet we could do the same thing there. And that's a cheap solution.
Okay, so when we decide to talk about that, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Cause I'm gonna bring it up pretty quick.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna start with fall and
As the weather gets cooler.
And there's stuff out there that you can tell we had planted that came up, but you can't see because of the way it looks.
Well, didn't we find a couple of rose bushes completely surrounded
And we
by
need, and we need to
weeds?
trim those.
Yes.
Yeah, those are bad.
So it used to be super attractive because it was cleaned out and colorful.
Well, and don't take this the wrong way, but public works guys aren't the most adaptable to beautifying landscaping. They're not
Oh, come on.
landscapers. They're public works guys, they're out there to do the rough work, but they'll do any rough work you want them to do.
We got like 3 or 4 master gardeners in our group.
Oh, wow.
So,
Where's they at?
Bring with a tiller.
Oh, I'm gonna remember
I
that.
had a little tiller.
Not, of the garden before.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. But anyway, we'll see what we can do to kind of make it look like, hey, hi.
Okay, so
Anything else with
Yeah, capital expenditures, we didn't talk about capital expenditures, 10,000 of it, or 9,000 of it is to add, we wanna add, outlets on the bottom of every single one of these light poles that are out here. Every time we host an event out here, we have a power problem of where are we gonna get power from? So Gilbert got a quote for that, yeah, we're having to rent generators or do something different, so Gilbert got a quote for that. There were a couple of other things on your list too that,
The
Gator.
so we wanna ask for a gator to go ahead instead of the guys blocking the whole park.
Pick up trash.
Yeah, picking up the trash be easier than having a little cart. Call a gator and they can just drag it around, pick it up real quick, save some time and also help out to get other things done.
How much do you have estimated?
5 to 10.
You know.
No,
How
talking
much does a gator cost?
already. Like, seriously.
We don't need anything fancy.
Yeah.
It's just gonna go around and pick up trash and park stuff, so we probably find a good used one for 5 to 10 grand somewhere.
Cool.
I had to cut Gilbert off on that one. I had to knock the number down a little bit,
We're
sorry.
shooting high.
Gilbert, always shoot high. You're gonna knock it down, right?
Oh, trust me, he does.
I'm glad I passed that torch on to you.
Yeah, you're done for a while.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay, that looks good then.
Perfect.
All right.
All right, you're not done. Public Works next.
Okay. Here's the biggie.
And before you go into this budget, so Public Works office has been moved now, so they are working out of City Hall and out of Donna's office, just so you know.
Okay,
So they have
next
an
to the
office.
mayor in that area?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
And the first line, I'll just jump in for a second. They had no money allocated for computers. And yes, generally speaking, they're out and about, but we need to have
Yes.
at least a small budget to replace any office stuff there with the computers, so. That's the first one.
Well, if they're spending too much time in their office, I'm gonna come talk to you, Gilbert.
So uniforms, you were talking about that the other day, what are we doing about that?
We're moving to a different company to where it's gonna be more professional looking. It's just gonna be a nicer,
Good,
more uniform for everybody.
Okay. they're gonna be cool for the summer?
Yes.
Okay,
The
good.
moisture we can share, so it wouldn't be too hot like the con.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Okay, we don't want anybody getting a heat stroke trying to do their job.
Right.
Okay, good. All right, uniforms.
Equipment
minor
is
equipment.
usually what?
Minor equipment in Public Works is anything from,
Tools or whatever.
just tools and especially right now, I think, it's mainly buying tools for the guys.
Keep in mind too, so historically, we always had streets and parks and water and all that. We kind of consolidated all the equipment stuff down into.
Oh, okay.
The parks budget only really covers anything that we invest into the
Maintenance.
park. It doesn't cover the day-to-day operations for the guys. All that falls underneath Public Works.
Okay, so their uniforms and tools.
All that,
Okay.
personnel, all of it
That
falls
makes
underneath
sense.
Public Works.
And he's been working, the last year and this year, he's been working on getting each individual employee their set of tools
Yes,
so that they're responsible, they're accountable for their tools. When they're sent off here, there, or whatever, they have their own.
yeah, you have to go back to the office and get a wrench or something. Yeah, okay.
The basic.
Well, and
the
they
basic
take better
tools.
care of it too.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, if I know this is issued to me,
Right.
this is my equipment, I'm gonna take better care of it.
Right,
If it's everybody's equipment, they don't take care of it.
right.
We see that in every department.
I lost it, I put it somewhere else.
Yeah, oh, I thought you had it.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why there was a huge slight increase there.
Okay, on your traffic control supplies,
Yes.
is that maintain what we got and replacing, or are we looking at doing more?
We're taking some of the stuff we have and replacing, because some is pretty bad shape. So
Barricades.
barricades, some of the cones. So all that, this year I want to replace at least some of it.
So it's basically just replacements.
Next year.
And we also have funding and street improvement
Yeah.
for additional traffic control stuff if needed to. So he's got additional cushion there.
Okay, cool.
That's great.
overtime's always a grabber.
I'm sorry?
Overtime's always a grabber.
Yeah.
Overtime,
Can't live without it.
Yeah, they
Well, it-
busted through that budget, so I increased it to hopefully.
yeah.
Also, just just so everybody's aware, he's actually having his guys move shifts right now during the summer because it's so hot
Yes,
to 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. So
yeah,
just so y'all are aware,
yes.
so that way they can get more done outside of the heat.
Mhm.
If anybody asks why they don't see anybody between 3 and 5, he's got to move in earlier here.
Excellent, we just told everybody, well, they all passed out.
Two of them in
It's
the
just been
hospital,
way- it's
or
just been way
each
too
room.
hot.
No. Okay, that is good.
You're clear on that. Passed.
Oh, sorry, sanitation, that increase, just a reminder, that's the waste connections increase, but there's a revenue that offsets that, so.
Yeah.
We'll reflect that increase on the water bill.
Okay.
All right, Chief, you're up.
As my wife tells me, our AC's up.
No, we haven't hit, it has its own, I added it.
I'm sleeping on station tonight.
They have their own budget. Yep. We included it, he said it was a good price.
All right.
All right, you're right.
So, as you all know, communications obviously falls underneath their independent budget, so that's why we reduced that
It's
down.
now moved over to, police budget.
What has?
Communications in general, because there's not any specific needs other than our subscription fees and whatnot, but they're all communication related, so. We do have an increase in computer programming. Obviously, as Chief Spencer said, everything's computer based. All of our stuff is software based. We don't do anything on pen and paper anymore. So, and rates go up every single year. So, in hopes to streamline our stuff, and that also does generate more revenue for us because all of our computer programs are tied back to EmergentCon and EmergentFire, and then do our billing for our incidents. So,
How many computers do y'all have?
in the station, we've got mine, the lieutenants, and we got two in the training room. And then each apparatus will have one CAD computer, and then the ambulance will have a patient care computer as well. And so they all have some form of software that are in. Yes.
Well, and it doesn't just cover hardware, this also covers any technical service too, from like Doug Keys. If he gets a computer failure or something goes on, Doug has to come out and work on it, that's he has to work on it, that hits that maintenance budget as well, so.
They're, the fire service and public safety in general is, we're at, Dallas just was on the news, their systems are down, so. We increased employee uniforms, obviously, everything goes up, and we're trying to do more and more for the guys, so they can, buy pants, and traditionally, we've only provided, warranty polos and t-shirts. They've got to look the part and have Class A uniforms, and so that way we can present the right optics when we're out and stuff, so we want to look snazzy and look professional, so. Oxygen supplies, it's only that because we combine oxygen supplies into medical supplies. You don't see a dramatic increase in medical supplies, but those rates are going up and getting more and more hard to find. So we did want to go up a little bit, but we also combine that with the oxygen supplies.
The medical supplies budget too is always a gift, because it's dependent upon the call volumes and the call types that they run every year. So if one year they're running several medical calls and less trauma calls, they're gonna use a lot more medications, so it's just something to bear in mind with medical budget is sometimes it kind of fluctuates, just depends on the call types that they're running.
I can assure you though, we're as fiscally responsible as humanly possible. There's a lot of trust to that trade.
Public events?
Okay, so public events. It's very, very stressful every year doing Celebrate America and being dependent 100% on donations. I love the event and we're growing. Obviously this year, I feel like we blew it out of the water on attendance. And it's very, very taxing for everybody. I want to start building in a budget for that so that as that grows, we're able to provide better facilities, better attractions, better accommodations, and not be 100% dependent upon donations. So we felt as if a good baseline would be 10,000 and at least cover our stage and our band and our sound. And then everything outside of that, we can start getting a large tent for shade in front of the stage and having tailors come out and actually set up those tents so that they're good commercial tents and we don't have to worry about the public works guys and the fire department stressing for 2 days, putting up something that's gonna blow down. So we want something that's durable, something that's, and it's about the optics too. We want this event to look like a very professional event because it's our annual festival. So I wanna start rolling some funds into that as we grow. I think it's only right.
And just to be clear too, so you're not stopping pursuing sponsorships.
Oh, no, this is a
You're gonna try to offset that $10,000 with sponsorships, but this is more of like a guarantee, right?
Yes.
Of insurance.
So if you get the sponsorships, you spend that money first?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, but it becomes a very strategic game of making dollars and cents stretch every year, and it's getting harder and harder, so, it's definitely needed.
Okay.
Let's see, obviously, all of the personnel and insurance and all that, that's all self-explanatory. Overtime, we increased, I know that, Chief Winter discussed that, but it's like we've said, it's built into every firefighter gets overtime, 2 out of the 3 checks. So, we're just trying to plan accordingly, as we go up in staffing. And then, because we do have so many events and all kinds of stuff, I don't want to affect our daily response level. And so we will hire back guys in order to ensure that we've got personnel available to do these events and be available for the citizens wherever we're at. So, there is those occasional instances that's gonna be required, so.
The building maintenance, last year we had a 0 budget because the fire department was basically new, completely renovated, so we had nothing in there, but now we've actually had some expense, so we went ahead and put $5,000 in there for the building
Yeah,
maintenance.
and the expense was just for normal keep up of the fire
Normal
department.
stuff, yeah, I mean,
AC?
you know,
The first,
actually, shockingly.
yeah, the first year was covered under warranty,
Yeah.
so we weren't really worried about any maintenance costs associated with it. We knew it was already covered under warranty. That warranty's gone now, on both buildings, as a matter of fact. And so we do need to make sure we're budgeting for maintenance, because that'll be on us.
That makes sense.
I mean, it's something as simple as
Yeah.
paint. I mean, paint is when I buy 5 gallons of paint and you're talking $500, and I make them do that every year. So just so everything looks as fresh as nice as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you haven't used any part-time this year?
I have,
We need to do account code correction. It's hitting the wrong account. It's hitting salaries.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to do an account code correction. He has been using part-time. If you take the salaries, overtime, part-time, and contract labor a little further down, and you add all those together, he's on target. He's at about 75% usage of the year, so he's on target. He's not going over his overall salary expenditure, so he's good there. It's just some things that are hitting,
that.
yeah, some things hitting the wrong account right now. We need to make some account code
Okay,
corrections.
thank you for asking that, because I was looking at.
I know, yeah.
Looks like everybody we were going up. if we
Yeah.
hadn't used
Yeah.
any of it, So,
Sorry, no, it's just, we gotta make a correction there.
What does medical direction mean?
that is best EMS medical director that we have to have in order as an ambulance provider, as an EMS provider. So, and they go up every single year. That's
EMS
Dr.
provider?
Our
Is that a person?
doctor.
A
The
doctor,
doctor,
okay,
medical
the
director.
guys are basically working off his license,
okay.
so.
He's the same one that gives oversight over communications as well. So
Okay.
it's all the exact same doctor, and we love Dr. Patel. But he works, they're associates with Best EMS and Beacon Health, and so every year they go
Is he
on,
gonna
which is
bill, is he
understandable.
gonna bill us before?
We do
October?
semi annually, so yes, we just got one, and so he does both, that way they hit long before the end of the budget year.
Semi-annually, but I have 0
Yeah,
so
we got
far this
0.
year. So
Should have built us
check
something.
into that, please.
That's it. Any questions?
Did you see that 0 capital?
Yeah. It sort of has to be this year.
That's because I took it on the next page.
But
Oh,
But
I'm
as a
smiling.
caveat, we didn't get an opportunity to go over it, 'cause I failed to remind him. We are doing every bit we can to make our dollar stretch, and thankfully there are funds from the county, so we do have a new ambulance. We're supposed to be going and doing final inspect at the beginning of this next month, so we'll have a brand new ambulance, and then the other one's on order. So we'll have $1.3 million of brand new ambulances and equipment inside of there that is fully free to us through county, the graces of county.
Two
So-
ambulances?
Mhm.
Oh.
So which are needed, because one's a 2012 and one's a 2016, and they're both, they've
Yes.
that's further than their traditional lifespan.
Yes.
Usually ambulances are 5 years at most, so,
That's outstanding.
yeah. So our entire fleet will be 100% new, and they're all on a regular PM met schedule and all's well.
Yeah.
Just can't wait.
I know. Okay.
Alright,
Do we
so,
have brush trucks?
So, yes, I found one. I finally found one to replace the one that was totaled out 19 now. So we're walking through that one, and we will be hopefully acquiring that one within the next few weeks and getting it down to get up there.
I think we have to. Wow.
So now, the 2016 that it was is gonna be a 2023.
Iris doing good. Good job.
All right.
Hit
alright. Computer programming, we did bust that budget, but we're not gonna ask for a significant increase primarily because our crimes cat cost is now going to be hitting dispatch budget, not our budget. So we should, yeah, we moved that expense out, so I don't foresee us busting that next year. Let's see, everything else is pretty much staying the same. Firearms qualification, I'm asking for a little bit of an increase, we are shooting more. Firearms qualification pretty much pays for our ammunition for qualifications and issues each officer duty ammunition for the year. Janitorial supplies is going up.
Wait just a minute, firearms qualifications. Don't we have more officers this year?
No, ma'am, the agreement has not been passed yet, remember? The school district has,
Right,
No,
right, but
no.
us as a city, do
No.
we still have the same number of officers?
same
Okay,
number of
so
positions.
that's not gonna go up, you don't anticipate. I'm just asking.
No, not any more than 5,000. We had to make a big order this last year because we slacked off the year before on, let me see.
No, it's because we couldn't find it.
Yeah, we were short the year before, so we had to make up for some of the
Okay,
other.
okay.
We have to issue each officer 100 rounds every year, brand new duty ammo, and then they shoot about 300 rounds a year on qualifications and practices.
Okay,
Um,
let's go back up to the third line, emergency management.
yes, ma'am.
What is that? I mean, I know
Um,
what it is, but what are we paying for?
That pays for, part of that pays for our APPC membership. The other part of it pays for any kind of emergency management supplies that we may order. I know this year we ordered some devices and things for incident command structure. If we need to do any sort of emergency management training, if, God forbid, we have another disaster of some sort and I need funding to be able to buy blankets or emergency supplies of some kind to house folks, I mean, all that would hit that budget.
Thank you.
5,000 is not a lot, but if it goes over 5,000, I'm begging county to buy stuff anyway, so we'll be okay. Laboratory fees, not asking for an increase there. Surprisingly, we've been pretty stable this year, for the first time in a long time. Let's see. Office supplies, expecting a little bit of a reduction there. That's been primarily due to dispatch now having their own budget. So dispatch is kind of ordering their own office supplies, police is ordering their own, so it's kind of split that out.
Okay,
Obviously, all of the salary expenses and everything. Building maintenance going up a little bit. We did bust the budget. That $43,000, part of that will be offset by ARPA. If you recall, council approved ARPA funds to paint the building and do some different things. But we are seeing a lot of air conditioning issues at the PD now. It seems like it moves from building to building.
We've had somebody come out and, yeah, they've kind of doctored it for a little bit, but it's on its last leg.
Yeah, we're gonna need to replace an air conditioner or two with that.
Oh.
Pretty soon. Equipment maintenance up a little bit, just equipment's getting a little older, gotta replace some. Professional services. I don't know about that. I'm trying to remember.
major investigations, was that our,
Yes,
Noel thing?
Yes, those are cost incurred from that.
Okay.
I actually think that there was probably more things that have been absorbed in other areas throughout the budget,
Yeah.
but when we started getting slammed with things, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna create an account, even though there's not a budget line item for it, I needed to, just so we could have an expense code,
Yes, yes.
Because
we can kind of track it.
we had to buy the concrete patio to replace that. We did have to rent some special equipment and things to go to that. I
There
think
was
some of that,
food and water
some of that
and
made it
things
is,
like that.
yeah, lots of food and water for everybody. There were some expenses there with that.
Okay.
Printing of maps and stuff like that when they were out searching.
Police duty cameras?
Yeah.
Okay, so, we currently use WatchGuard as our brand of body cameras and in-car cameras. Our in-car cameras, have not been replaced in about 9 years, 8 years. We've been moving those from one vehicle over to another, and now they're starting to fail. Our body cameras, we just don't have enough, and to buy them outright, it's about $1,000 per camera. And then it comes with a 1-year warranty. They last about 4 to 5 years, and I've got to replace them. So the in-car cameras are about $9,000 a piece to upfit, and we've got several vehicles. We should have in-car cameras in all of our vehicles. Currently, we don't. All of our SRO vehicles don't have them. Admin vehicles don't have them. Pretty much just the patrol cars have them. I've got 5 camera systems
How
essentially,
many cars you got?
about 12.
12 cars.
So we were soliciting through some different companies. Quite frankly, I haven't been very happy with WatchGuard's service. They were bought out by Motorola, and it just seems like things have just gone really bad.
Cause this is what we got last year, right, when we got the in.
Yeah, we did the upgrade. We didn't buy any cameras with that. We just did a server upgrade with that to house all of our videos. And so we can still use that server, so that equipment's still good. But the body cameras themselves, I am out. I mean, they're dying on the spot.
Yeah.
It's been a constant problem. So soliciting bids and looking at different things from different companies, we're proposing to move forward with a company called LensLock. And this will be a reoccurring fee every year, so it'll be $35,000 a year. Here's what they guarantee though for that $35,000 a year. The equipment is 100% covered. If an officer drops it, breaks it, whatever happens, they replace it for us, no additional cost. I will never have to buy a new camera again. They will upfit every single officer with their own personal body camera. So that way we can account for the videos being downloaded, who that video belongs to. They can charge them in their cars. They're higher quality grade. And they will outfit every single vehicle with an in-car camera system as well.
Including admin.
Including admin for the
What is that?
$35,000.
Wow. Okay,
I can.
Like my car,
Okay.
assistant chief's car,
okay.
that way I love having the cameras because it has saved us more than hurt us. I'm sorry?
That's a bargain.
Yeah,
But it's
I
an annual
thought-
fee, right?
That'll be
It's
annual.
reoccurring.
It will be reoccurring. This is not one time. So I want to make sure I'm very straightforward with that this will be reoccurring each year.
Yeah, but each car,
But to me, it's an insurance policy. The cameras have saved our officers from false claims, false complaints more times than not. And if I have a bad officer for whatever reason, then I want to catch them anyway. So no harm, no foul there. But that's certainly not the case. We've had many times people complain and say things, oh, the officer stole this, or, different allegations, and we pull the camera, and that's not the case at all.
Right, so this will cover everything.
This will cover
In
everything.
body and in vehicle for everybody.
Everybody, yep. One thing to keep in mind here is some of this cost also rolls off because we do have 6 school resource officers. So some of this cost rolls off and is built into the agreement that we have with the school district as well, so.
I think $35,000 is a good idea. And yes.
she's like, it's not a one time.
No, it is annual, but like
then-
you're saying,
then
when one
it's-
drops and
but it's
breaks,
covered.
now we gotta
Yeah.
We'll
replace
have
it.
to rebuy.
When he has equipment that's
It's
8,
nine-
9 years old, and that's not gonna happen with
It's
this,
updated every
because
year.
they'll update it.
I mean, it's $9,000 per in-car camera system. I
Yes.
only have 5. I need to have about 12 of them.
It's gonna go way over.
Well, for 12, that's $180,000.
$180,000.
I know it's annual, but I still think it's a good idea.
And what I don't know, and we'll try to figure out, is we may move this from police duty cameras, maybe back under the capital, depending. We don't know if we
It
can
is under capital.
we don't know if we can capitalize it yet or not. We're trying to
Yeah,
find out how, whether we actually own the property or if it's like a lease.
Yeah.
It just depends, that's an accounting thing.
Yeah.
We'll
It's currently,
Great idea.
it's currently listed as a capital account,
Plus they get
separate from
toys.
capital expenditures.
Any-
Having to purchase every year for 2 years is gonna cost more than.
Yes. All right.
Any other questions?
Oh,
All right, Beverly.
She's like,
I'm not right.
Boy, look at all those percentages.
yeah.
That bottom line.
Charlie, the phrase is bless the budget and everything is gone and over, so.
So before she gets started, let me throw this number out there. The anticipated revenue from other municipalities is $1,071,359.56.
Say it again.
$1,071,359.56.
And that's just the-
56 cents.
And that's just the other municipalities, Tarrant County ESD, Forest Hill PD, Forest Hill
That
Fire,
are currently.
Rendon, all these different agencies that are currently on board paying into the dispatch operation.
So it looks like you're making us about $300,000.
I'm not great with numbers, but that sounds good.
No. Our revenue is $1,071,359.56.
Uh-huh.
We're going to be expending $1,459,600.
So there's
So
that means-
300,000.
That's 300,000 the city is going to be expending, not making. That's how much, now keep in mind,
It's reducing our costs.
it's, yeah,
So it would be $3 million otherwise?
no ma'am.
That doesn't make sense. If we're bringing in 1.7 million revenue and.
No, not 1.7, 1.07.
Oh, that's why I asked you to repeat it, because the
Yeah.
700,000.
Yeah,
Zero
1,071,359.56.
Wishful thinking on your part.
It was. Okay, so
It's still really
we're
good.
spending 300,000.
Yes, ma'am.
This is a good page.
So
Yes.
overall, the city's increase is only 2.8% really in dispatch when you look at it, which is far less than what it would be otherwise, so.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're done then.
Yeah. What's the argument?
Okay, see ya.
This is phenomenal.
Good thing. I'm excited about it. I think everything so far is working well.
I mean, basically, all of this, yeah, it's, you have nothing to, you have nothing to compare it to, so, yeah, that's why there's always, the increase across there, but.
But it's only gonna get better when we get additional entities to join in our group too, so.
Yes.
I think spending $300,000 a year on dispatch is a cool deal. That's not bad.
Well, and prior to this, if you look, the fiscal year 23 adopted budget, the city was spending $377,569 in dispatch.
Yes. So
We're
it's
only,
kind of like,
we're only spending 10,000 more than that now.
And how many more employees have we added since then?
oh my gosh, yes.
And yeah, that's a
Equipment,
2.8% increase. It would have cost us way more than that just without doing any of this,
Yep.
just moving forward
Yep.
with the equipment that was required. And all the other
Thanks,
cities are
Mara.
experiencing the same things, right?
Woo, good job.
Do you have any, do you have any questions over the line items? Because there are a couple of new ones. So do we need to kind of clarify what these line items are
Yeah,
used
what
for?
are-
Okay, so communications M&A,
She's in a good mood.
that covers,
And we said Diet Coke, we bought her.
Yeah.
Remember
uh,
What do you got?
communications M&A, that covers all of the fees associated with us being on the Fort Worth radio system. That covers our, what they call a system upgrade agreement, the SUA cost. All that's lumped into the communications maintenance agreement. Computer programming and maintenance, that goes without saying. That's all the computers and software and everything in there. Their budget is significantly big because there is a lot of it in there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of.
Dues memberships, kind of low. We made, Beverly's still kicking this off, so that may increase over time, but it's fine where it's at. Employee uniforms right now is at 0. We're gonna find alternative ways to get them some t-shirts and things. they don't really wear a uniform, they dress pretty much comfortable. So we're gonna find some different ways for them to get some t-shirts and stuff like that.
None of the other admin departments have an employee, uniform budget line item, so.
Right.
That lease
It's just the
payment,
outside guys.
that lease payment is actually the printer that's in there, the copy printer in there, that's used by police, dispatch, and
It's a
jail.
heavy duty one.
Yeah, it's a heavy duty one, it just hits the dispatch budget, just so you know what it is. Let's see, notification system, that's our CTY system that we use. It's a communication project, so we just put it underneath the communication budget, but it's not, yes, ma'am.
We're talking CTY, and I'm sorry, I just took a deep breath because I thought of it, and I apologize. I'm so bad about interrupting.
Nope, you're fine.
Maybe we should advertise the CTY thing on the big sign right here, because people are saying, they keep coming to me, what is this, how come I don't get the call, my neighbor does? Well, your phone number's not in the system. Go to City Hall and they'll help you. But if we advertise that, maybe they'll know, I mean, you're driving by and you see it.
Still want to go to City Hall.
Yeah, is there
I'm
another
being
easier way for them to put their number connected to the CTO than coming to the city hall?
They can go online themselves and do it. There's if they go to the website, there's a link on there that they can sign up through the link on their phone if they want to.
And we can have,
So maybe we would.
Edna put that on the budget, I mean, on
water bill?
the water bill,
Yeah.
we can,
I get them on my home phone, my cell phone, I get texts on my cell phone.
I don't get them hardly.
Well, now that I don't have my house phone, I'm not getting the calls because I haven't added my cell phone and because I haven't came to the city.
I'll send you the link.
Yes,
Gotcha.
I wanted to know if there was another way or form
Yeah.
that makes it easier for people not to have to come to the city hall.
Yes.
Okay.
And our staff in UB, if somebody calls on the phone and says, hey, can you sign me up? They'll
Oh,
do
they
it,
can do it on the phone too?
they'll do it for them.
Yes.
They'll pull
I
the
did it
form.
here with Mindy and Jennifer once out in the big,
Yeah.
we had a big meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll fill out the form, they fill out the form all the time for residents that come in on their behalf. So,
Yes.
and same thing over the phone, if somebody calls in and says, hey,
So
can you
you
sign
don't
me up?
have to come in person?
No,
They
you
can
don't.
call
There's
or
other
do it
options,
online,
sure.
okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Contact City Hall somehow, they'll help you.
but just as a reminder, we might add it to the next water bill,
That would
just
be great.
put a link on it.
Just- Yes.
Is there any way to change the font in the, in the note section on the water bill? It's a boring font and nobody looks at it.
Darker.
The letters, some of them need to be bold, the font itself needs to be Arial or Calibri, not Times New Roman. It's a boring font.
Lucinda, I like Lucinda.
That
Something we can
I
vote.
always change it, I can't do Calibri, I always change it to Times New Roman.
I don't like
too
Calibri
jazzy.
either, but it's better than Times New Roman.
It is, Calibri is.
So skinny,
I don't know what it is.
you have to keep it bold in order to see it.
It just needs to be.
Can we get something?
I
Pretty darker.
It doesn't have to be pretty, it needs to be seeable. Also the website.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, the website, this is a conversation for another time, but I want everybody to do this. Go to the website and figure out something to look at and find it.
It's hard.
I
It
can't
is
find
hard.
anything on the website. That's why I constantly text or email poor Mindy. Where is this?
Have you been on the finance page? It's
I haven't got there yet. It's the other stuff.
Miss Becky, we will set up a website editing workshop and we will make sure to sit down with you.
Oh,
We charge you with looking at financials that I post out on the website.
You
Okay.
got transparency out there? Oh, never mind.
All right, no meeting codes for Susie.
All right.
Alright.
Maybe I need cat free.
Going down a little bit more.
Sorry.
You gotta make our workshop fun.
Right, yes.
So charter radio link, that's a new budget line item, that's to pay for we have a hardcore link, underground fiber link from our dispatch site to a radio tower in Eagle Mountain. That's how we do the communications through control, for whatever reason that link goes down, and we fall back to our backup systems. But that's what that $6,000 pays for. Medical direction, just like the fire department, we have to have a physician who oversees our E&D process of accepting EMS calls. That's Dr. Patel, Best EMS. And then capital expenditures, that $5,000, we're not asking to spend anything on that. We actually have a new fund that we want to try to allocate money towards and build that fund up. Because as you can see, dispatch equipment is very expensive. And when it fails, it's expensive to replace. So we want to try to start building that fund up as much as we can.
Is that what this one is?
So, yes, ma'am, that's what that $5,000
Okay.
is. So that way, if something does fail, we need to replace a server. A CAD server will cost us $15,000 to replace if one goes down. We have 4. So we need to be able to build up money, so if one of these things goes down, we've got money that we don't have to worry about, oh, where are we gonna fund this from? We want to have those funds available, so.
So, and I misunderstood that, so on the final copy, you'll see that a little bit differently. It won't be under capital expenditures, it'll say capital contributions, I'm gonna move it to a different line item, so.
Okay, so, but capital expenditures sounds like something else, so.
Right, that's what, I
Okay.
thought it was for a capital expenditure purchase, but that's not what it is.
Okay,
He just wants to
yeah.
contribute those funds into a fund.
Got you, build a fund, yes.
Yeah, it's pretty much like a restricted fund for dispatch, that she has money that, hey, I need to replace a server, I need to replace computers, I've got a $10,000 need, she's got funds readily available that she can use
Yeah.
without us having to
Open
figure
up
out where we're gonna find money
And
from.
that's
That makes sense,
account
planning ahead
specifically for.
for the inevitable.
Yes. I have another question.
Yep.
Medical direction, $5,000. Is the doctor, the fire department place?
So he's providing 2 different services. He has to provide medical direction specifically for dispatch. It also covers our QA/QI process, because he'll go through and review EMS calls, make sure that our dispatchers are acting appropriately, those kinds of things. And then he provides a separate medical direction service for the fire department. So there are 2 different fees, but it's the same company, same physician doing it.
And to be honest, there's actually more that can and should do and will do with communication side of the QA. Because the call volume, obviously, is a combination of all of them that he does specifically individually for us. So it's definitely labor intensive.
What's really cool is we're paying $5,000, and this doctor, unlike any physician we've ever had as a medical director before, actually comes here all the time. He's written on our ambulance several times. He's gone on calls, and we've had patients, he'll walk up, I'm Dr. Patel, and they're like, holy crap, I called 911, I got a doctor at my house. He's been on us for CPR and progress calls and giving medical direction right there. He comes in and he hangs out with the dispatchers, talks with them, does the same thing on the fire side, talks to the paramedics, talks with the firefighters. It's really cool having that. No, he's at McKinney. Yeah, McKinney. Really nice guy. Amazing doctor and very personable. And all the staff love to sit there and chat with him. They're able to, he's very approachable, personable. They're able to ask him questions and not feel dumb. Things like sometimes talking to a doctor, you'd be like, I don't want to ask that. No, they can ask him, and he's great. He's phenomenal.
How old is he?
Gosh, I don't even think he's in his 40s yet, is he?
Maybe, barely. He's
a young
of
guy.
Indian descent, so obviously he probably looks younger than me. He's got that great skin, so.
Yeah. And you said he was from where?
So
McKinney.
he was out of Memphis City, McKinney. He actually I know he was gonna transfer to the VA, because he likes to work with veterans. But he started as a ERMD or DO at Memphis City, McKinney.
Oh, okay.
Just keep tossing out those letters and my brain's going, okay.
Yeah, he's definitely a nice guy. He's awesome.
That's
And
great.
he texts or calls at least 10 times a week.
All right, now.
Set it for dispatch?
We need a video.
I know, we do.
Sorry, I did all your talking. Do you have anything to say?
I don't actually.
Poor baby here.
We kind of ran out of you, sorry.
Start bringing duct tape for me, and I'll let you run the show. My bad.
Well, I'm glad.
That wasn't very much of a team effort. I did it all. I just-
He was excited, he wanted to go ahead and explain.
I do want to say this though, because she deserves it. We had a fire chiefs meeting and a police chiefs meeting, and at both meetings, she received kudos from several chiefs about things that are happening in dispatch, the operations and the improvements and stuff. So things are going the right direction. It's really good. It's really good. Everybody seems happy, so.
For you.
Yes, excellent.
That's just what you know. It's my home.
All right,
All right, thank you.
animal control. Okay.
Animal control.
So we do have some increases here, and keep in mind too that Mayor Pro Tem Mackey and Councilwoman Sellers also serve on the Animal Control Advisory Board, so they've had some influence on this budget. And this budget may change depending on what agreement we come to for this next fiscal year with Forest Hill, on if they're going to continue with us providing ACO services and how much, and how many positions, and that kind of stuff. So this budget may actually double. if they agree to that. But we'll work on that when that agreement's finalized. Animal control supplies is way up. We're proposing $10,000 there. Primarily, they need some specialized equipment. They need dart guns. We've also been expending more money with the more animals that we've got coming through.
Well, yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I bumped that up quite a bit because, yeah, there's been so many animals dropped off and then it's like we're constantly having to ask for donations and this and that. And I'm like, okay, we need to pad it a little bit where we can as well, because we don't wanna be without, you know.
Okay, your computer, how old is it?
We just bought it in 22, so it's only about a year and a half old.
I was thinking we had.
Yeah, they've got a fairly new computer out there. Robinson wants to supply them with iPads, which are remarkably cheap.
Yeah.
And they're portable, that way they can have it on them all the time. We can get an iPad for a couple $100.
Yes, right.
And they can have cell phone service on it, and they can work on it in the field and then have the computer back at the office.
Yeah, they need that,
Yes,
yes.
yeah.
Programs, computer programs, do they have the newest and latest greatest? I mean, we've always in the past.
PetPoint, yes, yeah, that's the PetPoint software is the software that just got implemented, yeah,
Okay, good.
this last year. And it's essentially no cost. It's kind of a game that's played essentially. We pay for the microchipping equipment and we get the software for free. So we buy all of our microchips that go into the dogs from PetPoint. They provide us the software and stuff for free.
Oh, cool,
So-
cool.
We're not actually
Not bad.
paying for computer programming, we're paying for the microchips.
Okay.
You had a question? Sorry.
Okay, one thing I do.
We don't come back.
Interrupt, I can't remember.
One thing I do want to point out, if you go down to salaries, you're gonna see a 33% jump in here, and I need to explain this. We have had some staffing issues, as you're aware, in animal control. And we needed to get a staff member in here who was highly qualified, certainly that somebody that we could invest in that would stick around and help do what needed to be done. So I needed to invest more in order to recruit this person. So there is a significant salary increase, 33%, but I can assure you she is well worth it. And we are very glad to have her. The individual who we hired, she was a shelter manager for the city of Arlington. She has managed the shelter in Sansom Park. She has got certifications galore, experience galore. She's got connections with rescues. Ms. Mackey and Ms. Sellers had the opportunity to meet her the other day. And just in a few days, she's already doing some amazing things down there. So we're really, really, really glad to have her. And long-term, I think it's gonna save us money in other areas by having her and investing more in the salaries up front. So that's the reason for the increase there.
We may need to add dues and memberships. Don't see that on here, but you just talked about certifications.
Well,
I'm
we-
sure we're gonna have to
Oh,
add it.
yeah, it's
We
not on here.
We can't, well, we have training in here.
Yeah,
That's
really.
That's not.
But I think we'll have to amend this budget anyway when Forest Hill comes in, because I've asked them for 150,000 to add 2 more positions, so.
Do you have cameras down there and also the article?
Getting installed this week,
Well, the puppies that were dropped off.
yes.
Yes.
Did you find the owner of those?
Okay, on the drug supplies,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, is this kind of like they're using now as being the normal? Because the only reason why I'm asking is because it was brought up that to vaccine maybe all the dogs and stuff that come in.
Mhm.
And it wasn't even covered it or what? Because we don't do that now, do
We are doing more of it now, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now.
So you can look at the difference between 22 was $433.
Yeah.
That was just for blue juice. Now we're up to almost $1,200, and that does include vaccinations. We're not putting down any animals. But we're up to $1,200. That does include vaccinations. We bumped it up to $1,500.
Yeah.
If the agreement goes through with Forest Hill, we will bump that up again, probably another $1,500,
Okay.
giving us $3,000 for vaccinations.
Those are nominal costs for each vaccination, if you wanna talk to Robinson. But
Yeah, it's just a matter of how many we've been having to give, yeah. Per vaccination is cheap, but when you're talking about, he mentioned the other day, they processed, over 200, almost 250 dogs,
Oh,
over this past year through that shelter.
Do they have adoption events?
I mean,
Yes, they have been, they've been partnering with the rescues, they just had one this last weekend, as a matter of fact, they got rid of a couple at the Petco in Weatherford. I mean, they're going all over the place. We've got somebody coming from St. Louis to pick up a couple of dogs. I mean, these dogs are going out everywhere. The rescue groups that we partner with have been doing an amazing job.
Did they have one here for Celebrate America?
Yes, they
Yeah, they got-
suckered my
they-
wife into getting one.
I
I thought it was you.
think they adopted out 4 or 5.
And I know she's watching this too. Probably gonna get a text message.
I'm pretty sure it was 5.
Excited.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good.
well, I know, I spent probably over $300 at least just for the vaccinations my dog has needed, which is 3 months worth. Every month you had to have. And that included the rabies at the end and stuff too, so it's expensive.
So when we have our Christmas things, if it's not too cold, could we do a dog show or something?
We've talked about wanting to do adoption events at every single one of our cities.
Yes,
Bring
yes.
those dogs out.
National
Yes.
night out and
Yes.
stuff like that.
All of them, yeah.
Have a booth for
Yeah,
service
do
dog too.
So one thing to put on,
A tent over them, yeah.
we are not budgeting for this right now, but we are trying to research a new animal control facility. So just anticipate that coming at some point. I'm figuring out how we may try to work that out. Because the facility they're in, it's not up to par, even if it was just us. The building's falling apart. It's time to do something.
Well, it's in a black hole too, nobody knows where it is.
The location's not.
The location's not
Hard to
great,
get
it's in a
to.
flood.
Yes,
It needs to be where there's people driving and say, oh, well, that's what kind of companies they have today.
Yes.
We just so happen to have property over by
The whole
Johnson
service
Park,
center.
that would be ideal, right off of River Parkway, highly visible, away from residential, perfect.
Where all the kids are going to school.
Bring home a puppy every day.
mom's dropping somebody off.
Yeah, look, mom, look, mom, look, mom.
That's how it happens.
Okay.
Court,
It looks good.
you ready?
Court.
First was, pretty much the same too, except we increased the computers, and that was because we're gonna be purchasing some more of the ticket writers, is that correct?
Yes. And a lot of things, keep in mind too, so we have a restricted fund called Core Technology Fund that we can utilize to offset overages and things here. So we do have a restricted fund that helps offset core.
Is that it?
No, that won't be reflected here, that's a special revenue,
Oh, okay.
it's a restricted revenue.
It's if we have like a capital purchase such as this ticket writers or something like that, then we'll do a budget amendment to move the money from the technology fund over to
Okay.
general fund to cover the expenses.
Who would be using the ticket writer?
Police officers, code enforcement, the ones we're buying are specifically for code enforcement and animal control.
Okay.
Because our officers are equipped with them, but animal control and code enforcement is not. She wants to get everybody on the same.
Yeah. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's all automated and goes straight to her.
Edna? Okay.
Yes,
good.
Yes.
So, Judge,
Yeah, and we were not notified of any increase there, so. He increased last year, but
you gonna ask?
Yeah.
oh, we are, well, that's
Got
because
mine.
Tia Morris.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, we
we
talked
changed
about
it.
it and then realized.
We changed it last year.
Not the judge, we changed
No,
the
it's not.
prosecuting attorney.
No,
No,
that's
okay.
just what we.
Yeah.
We use Magnuson for the,
Oh, okay.
And how's that?
Yeah, if you look at.
Really well.
Okay.
yeah, he actually came out and went door to door to some of our problem people and
Because see, really,
told
now,
them, this ain't going forward anymore, so you better get it taken care of.
You went next door to my neighbor,
Yeah.
nothing's been done,
Well,
nothing's been done. It's just gotten worse.
But, well, shouldn't be talking about that here.
No.
okay.
Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last one, fleet.
It is.
That is because we have 2 less departments, we merged library in and we've merged code enforcement in, because, yeah, he's paid out of police and she's now paid under admin, so anyway, so we merged those. So, fleet is our last one? Yay.
Not much of an increase, just 4% is what we're anticipating, so 230 to 240,000 for lease payments. That includes all vehicles, including police vehicles. Remember, we're gonna be doing an admin transfer coming out of police coming out of CCPD to offset some of that. Also keep in mind, there will be a revenue that we anticipate, because every time we turn in vehicles, we sell those vehicles back, we get a revenue back from those vehicles that kind of rolls in to help offset this. We just got a check for like $136,000 on turning in certain vehicles in, so it really does truly try to offset a lot of this. It's been looking good. The enterprise program has proven to truly reduce a lot of our maintenance and stuff on vehicles and keep us up to par on how many vehicles we need. We think we may even have an extra vehicle too that we can actually turn back in. Got some new vehicles coming that it's always a game. It kind of fluctuates on when you get new vehicles and when you don't. So we're just a matter of when they're available and when they come in. So it kind of fluctuates a little bit, but every time we get a new vehicle, we're turning a vehicle back in.
It's in a rotation.
Yeah, so it's a rotation essentially. So the budget numbers kind of fluctuate a little bit. So we try our best to guesstimate what the maximum number would be, which would be 240 for this next year.
Is it still the same type of vehicle?
Not always. It just kind of depends on the availability. So for example, the public works trucks, we had the Chevy 2500s. Gilbert said he felt like he didn't need necessarily 3/4 ton trucks. So we could go down to 1/2 ton trucks on some of them. And so they go to market, find out what's the most available, what makes the most financial sense, what has the most resale value. So there's this whole process that goes into it to identify what truck would be best for us to get. And the last cycle, they got Dodge Ram 1500s, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So we've seen those come in. Police cars, it kind of depends on the purpose. If it's a patrol vehicle, it has to be PPV rated, so we have to go through the police line and do those. If it's an SRO vehicle or an admin vehicle, we can play with those a little bit because they don't have to be PPV rated. And so we kind of go to market and see what's better. We've been downgrading from some Tahoes. If we can find Chargers available or Traverses available, we'll do those because those actually require a lesser monthly payment, so it saves some money in doing that. At least the first year.
A little cheaper on gas too.
Yeah, at least the first year. So I think we've got 2 Dodge Chargers coming for police, a Traverse coming for police. There's 3 additional Traverses on order that we'll wait for Chevy to build, but those could be a year out. So it's just always kind of a game on the time, but not always the exact same vehicle. Just depends on the market.
What is PPV related?
Police pursuit vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it's a patrol vehicle and it's not PPV and the patrol officer gets into a vehicle pursuit for whatever reason and an accident occurs, the city can be held liable for that. So we have to make sure our patrol officers are in PPVs. They have specialty brakes, shocks, all the suspension, motor mounts, all that stuff. It's all rated for high speeds.
Okay.
So I just wanted to mention one thing on the vehicle maintenance. Yes, our overall cost of vehicle maintenance has gone down, but as you see, we're busting the budget here, and there's reason for that. No. Chief Wally,
No.
no, and
I
this
just
is,
oversee
hey, let me. And that's partially when there's a major, things that need to be repaired, however.
it. A brake job is $1,800 because when they do it,
But it's
everything
also
goes wrong, so.
when our guys wreck a vehicle, it gets charged to this account, and then we get money in from TML to cover that. And so that will be offset, some of this will be offset by insurance proceeds too.
And unfortunately,
So don't choke too much
we
on
have,
that.
we-
And I was like,
Yeah, it is hard.
unfortunately, we
I'm
have
like,
had
tell
a
these
few
guys to stop wrecking my vehicles.
Holy cow.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have had a few accidents. I mean,
Yeah.
when you operate vehicles, it happens.
Okay.
That's all I have to say on that.
Any more questions? I'm good.
Nope. Awesome. Good job, guys. I'm gonna buy her 6 Diet Cokes.
Yeah, There's 6, there's 5 more in the fridge.
She was a Dr. Pepper next time.
There's Dr. Pepper's in the freezer.
There's Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, they just didn't have any Diet Coke, I'm smiling. And I didn't see
Is
any.
it gonna cost some to get that usable?
It's in the fridge.
I don't know the answer to that just yet.
But there were 2
Um,
sweets out there.
And I don't think we know exactly which direction we're gonna go. I know we've talked about potentially Boys and Girls Club. I think all of that depends upon, if there's, is there, okay, if we provide them a facility, is there gonna be an ask? Are you gonna ask for any additional funds to operate this? There's partnerships that are involved that we have to get agreed upon, like I think the school district was one, county was another. If they're gonna service this area, just we're still gonna be a partner on that, are they gonna contribute funds to help? So there's a whole discussion to getting the Boys and Girls Club thing started.
Well, I
We
say
did.
not even like for the council chambers, if we use it for that, or.
I mean, there would be there would need to be some funding allocated. I think if it was a conversion of some sort for us, then we would just address that as a capital need once we found out how much that would cost.
But luckily, it was just renovated, so basically it's a clean slate once you move this shelving out of there.
Pretty much.
The tile was all in there ahead of time, and then we added the shelving, so it's not like it was around the shelving or, so it's.
Should be pretty minimal.
Okay,
Boys and Girls Club is a topic for another discussion, because it's not on the agenda.
I was just asking about the building cost, if any.
But if we're talking budget for it, you can discuss that here. It is a workshop. You're not taking action. So
Okay.
you can discuss it if it's related to budget needs.
Okay, I just don't want everyone to get stuck with the entire cost of the
Sure.
Boys and
Oh,
Girls Club.
absolutely.
No, I
And
think-
there's no way that we can
I think,
afford to.
I think providing the facility should be.
Our contribution?
I mean, I'm really, I'm not kidding.
And that was our
That is the goal.
proposal. So
And then they're gonna want office supplies and balloons and food and.
No, I think that's why they would reach out to the
I just
ISD,
want
to
to know
the
about
county,
the
to
cost
the.
of the building, if any, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay,
we don't have
I
an anticipated cost.
foresee a
just yet.
massive cost in that, just because other people don't pull their end or something, I got a bad feeling in my.
But then, of
Right
course,
about
you
that.
do the partnership and you do your paperwork, and if it's not going the way it needs to, then they would just cut it off.
Yeah, it would be,
Yes.
this would be outlined upfront in an interlocal agreement with
Yeah.
everybody on what the dollar amounts were.
yes.
We've already asked them, hey, if this is what you wanna do, then please get us a proposal with numbers,
Yes.
utilizing this facility, what would it cost to do this? Not only to us, but to any partnering agencies, and then we would need to bring all those partnering agencies to the table and say, do you wanna do this program or not, get their commitment to it,
Yes.
and then it would go. We would get those commitments first, we
okay.
wouldn't just say, okay, let's do it and hope we get money from it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna jump into some little
No.
take advantage of it.
Yeah.
No, thank you,
So,
that's my big concern about that.
No, that wouldn't be the case at all.
well, if nobody has anything else,
Did we, I think the one question is, do we cover every expenditure everybody's wanting? Do y'all have anything that we need to look at that we did not include in this?
Just a question, may not even be in regards to this. Can we include like a radio announcement for like the Celebrate America and our communications in the budget for next year?
Like a radio announcement, like
Radio station.
Like a radio station.
How about new council?
The only reason is because Back to School Bash does it.
Yeah.
For 3 events, and so I think that if we're going to invest and every year get bigger on Celebrate America, a radio station announcement.
Did you jot that down,
would be great.
sir?
I'm not all on those, we discussed this after the town hall.
Yeah, I want to make sure that there was enough money there, I think that would be very good.
Okay. Advertising.
I think it'd be nice for us to have the new chairs for the council.
You want these chairs?
Yes.
You want these chairs for the council meeting?
Oh, they have ours.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah.
Oh, well, heck, done,
They're comfortable, we
Done.
They are comfortable.
okay.
You're gonna see some new, room chairs in here.
I thought y'all liked those chairs, so we were just keeping those ones for
Yeah.
y'all.
He's been waiting for the day for you guys to say you don't like them. Okay,
These are ours.
It raises up, look how high I am.
When you purchase them in bulk, they're not,
Look at that pillow.
they're really not that.
And I don't slip.
There's a pillow on my chair, every time I sit on it, it's like,
Yep, slide right out on my pillow.
Okay, we can do that, done. Yep, next meeting, these will be in there.
2 points for you.
Are there any other, y'all have any other major expenditures or any areas that we haven't looked at that you want?
Not that I can think of.
No, I was thinking Terry would have to do it for the budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So next will be revenues. As you hold on to these, please, and then as you go through, one thing to be upfront about, like we talked about with salaries, we don't know what our revenues are gonna look like. That's always the bad side of doing budgets. So this is all kind of this is our wish list. This is what we wanna do when revenues come in, depending on where revenues sit. I'm praying they come in great and we'll be sitting pretty, not have any concerns. But I'm not as confident this year as I was last that they're gonna be great. So we just don't know. So be prepared. We may have to come back and revisit this and make some adjustments in different areas. So just kind of think about that as you're going through this, if you have any
We're not
preferences.
trying to get our chairs, is what he said.
No,
And
we're
the
not saying
$1,000
that.
dinners.
Yes.
So, yeah, they're gonna just come get these.
Yeah, we'll-
That one, a couple people made it. I made 2 or 3 small changes to the presentation that I did on Tuesday. I will have those highlighted and bring them back to your attention at our next meeting.
For the
But
revenue?
they were, yeah, no, they were expenditures on the water side.
Oh, okay.
And it was just a couple adjustments that I had to make. But they're small
Okay.
amounts, but I just want to bring it to your attention. And we have your packet too from our first meeting, so thank you.
Alright, with nothing else, we are adjourned, time is 3:21.
All right. Good meeting, y'all. Thank you.
No, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you for the diet